With a belly landing at Knoxville's downtown airport. Volunteer TV's Whitney Daniel joins us live from there with a closer look. Whitney?
That's right, and they just took the plane off the runway into the hangar, and by the looks of it, you wouldn't even know anything had happened to the plane. For hours of uncertainty, though, Pete flew over this airport. He made several passes over the runway to make sure that his controlled crash landing went off without a hitch, and it did.
It's something you know is probably going to happen sooner or later.
Sooner came today when your traffic eye in the sky, 8PeteMichaels landing gear failed.
Part of my checklist is to put the gear down and immediately look out the window and make sure it's coming down and locked.
It wasn't, so he tried the backup manual gear.
If we have fluid in the system, we can reach down and pump the gear down into lock position. But when we went to pump the gear down, there was no resistance at all, which meant that there was no fluid and no way to get the gear down.
Pete tried several maneuvers to get the gear down. None worked, so he spent 2 hours burning fuel and used that time wisely.
So it was a matter of practicing and just trying to get the plane in a position where we could land it softly. And
after collaboration with Knoxville Fire Department, they decided a grass landing would be the best option.
It's always safer to land in the grass with a belly up or with a belly type landing. The hazards of landing on the runway naturally would be a spark hazard.
That's already happened once for Pete about 15 to 20 years ago.
If you have a retractable license, pilots say, you know, the two pilots with landing gear up landings are those who have done it and those who haven't done it yet.
This is Pete's second, and he says no sparks and smoke make this one much more pleasant. You're looking now at some fresh video of the Federal Aviation Authority taking a look at the damaged aircraft. They're trying to figure out exactly what went wrong with Pete's plane today, and they've taken that into the hangar to check it out a little more closely. The Cessna 182 plane did suffer substantial damage, though, to the rudder and some damage to the left wingtip. He hopes to be back in that plane by next week, but until then, he will give us his traffic reports through his backup plane, and we're going to hear from him here in just a second. So back to you guys.
Yeah, incredible. Whitney, thank you. Well, Pete wasn't in the air this afternoon, but he was still working, bringing you some traffic reports as well.
Yeah, we can always count on Pete. He joins us right now in the studio with more on what has been an eventful day. First of all, we are so glad that you're okay tonight.
And I'm glad that you're glad.
Walk us through today. Walk us through.
Well, it was a normal day this morning. The normal wrecks, normal coverage, normal morning shots.
Right.
Went to put the landing gear down when we ended up at the pad at Downtown Island Airport. The gear warning, everything seemed right, but when I heard the gear pump was working, we normally take a visual check out the window to double check that, and the gear wasn't down. We recycled the gear wasn't down. So you have a backup pump in the plane to where you can pump it by hand. This has happened before a few times over the years, no problem. While we were pumping, the backup system lowered the gear. There was no friction. And at that point, I realized it wasn't pumping fluid.
You made a safe landing, but you were just telling me while we were seeing the story by Whitney that you know what happened now. You just now found out.
Yeah, we met with the FAA and for a number of hours, and really, there are a lot of pilots out there thinking, boy, the worst part about this dealing with the FAA, this is really some of the nicest guys I've dealt with in 30 years. There is a little hose that pumps fluid. They've never seen it fail before. One of these things, we've never seen this happen before. Well, great, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
but it broke or blew off, and all the fluid just came out, and it was really took out both systems.
Wow, we're about out of time. Just walk us through, in your mind, those last few seconds as you're coming down. What do you think?
Well, in interviews like this, the pilot will always say there wasn't time to be scared or think, but there wasn't time. We knew what we had to do. We knew where we had to land. The fire department was standing by. We burned off 90 gallons of fuel, and you know, I didn't want to do anything to upset my parents, children, or grandchildren for Christmas, so I knew it was...
Well, let me tell you, you got a lot of compliments today from a lot of people on how you handle it, so we're glad you're here.
Lots of folks calling in to check on you as well.
Well, a lot of prayers, too. We appreciate that.
Pete, thank you so much.